Coming up next, summer short story number 2, A Case of Identity by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Everybody, welcome back to Bookin' It. Here on Bookin' It, we have no case of identity because I'm your humble and eloquent host, Cooper Cobbs, and the other person who's about to be identified is Tanner Lewis.
That was so weak.
That was not. That was awesome. Now, Tanner, you've been identified, but the question is, what case are you? Okay, we won't do that. But
That
here
was
we
even
are.
weaker.
We're back doing summer short stories. We're talking about Sherlock Holmes. When I was making the list, I texted Tanner because he's a big Sherlock Holmes guy, and I was like, I want to do one Sherlock Holmes story. Which one do you want to do? And he said this one. Sorry, we had to stop our recording for a second so Tanner could tell his sisters to be quiet, and I forget where we were. Oh yes, Sherlock Holmes. I texted Tanner, I said, hey, Sherlock Holmes story. He goes, this one. And we were talking off mic, and he goes, yeah, I don't know why I picked this one. This one's kind of weird. So,
It's better than the one I was originally going to have us do. Let's just clarify that one. I think I was going to make us do, which one was it? I think I was going to try and do the Steady and Scarlet, which is okay, but I feel like this one's more interesting and it generates a little bit more discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to tell us what the short story is about? I mean, I've read it, but tell the listener
Yes.
what this one is about.
So this Sherlock Holmes story is basically about Sherlock Holmes helping this young woman find this her husband now, right? Didn't they get married?
No. Well, no. They were going.
She was going to go get married. Her fiance, and they were going to go get married, and then her fiance disappeared, and she wants Sherlock Holmes to help her find this said fiance. Now, it's this whole thing, and Sherlock Holmes eventually finds out that the fiance was her stepfather, who was trying to manipulate her to keep all of her money.
Right. So she wouldn't get married.
Yes.
And he would lose the money.
It's a very twisted idea of his.
Yeah, this one's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird, but
really weird.
It generates a lot of discussion because this one has a lot of Sherlock Holmes being amazing.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we can talk basically every single Sherlock Holmes story. I mean, I've read several follow the same template. Sherlock Holmes and Watson are talking. Someone comes in. Sherlock wows them with his incredible powers of discernment. He goes out and does some weird stuff. He and Dr. Watson reconvene, and he tells the whole story to Dr. Watson and in the place of, and, stuff like that.
Yes. There are a few other stories that follow a different template, and those are usually the more exciting ones, but I didn't read those ones until after we had already thrown this on the next recording. So we're going to be going through this one. Maybe we'll go through another one some other time for you guys.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Maybe behind the paywall on Patreon or something like that. That'd be fun. Do you have any baggage with Sherlock Holmes you want to share?
So not really. I mean, I read for our school, we had to read what was it? It was the Red-Headed League, and that was a Sherlock Holmes story. So, I mean,
it's probably the most classic one.
Yes, it is. And other than A Steady and Scarlet, that and A Steady and Scarlet are like very classic. So I read that, and then I'm like, ooh, these are really good. I'm going to go find this collection. So about 2 years ago, I found a collection of Sherlock Holmes stories, and I read all the way through that. And then I think about a few months ago, probably 6 months ago, I found this huge collection of Sherlock Holmes stories. I'm looking at it right now, and I've got 1,800 pages of it sitting in front of me. Yep. It is large. It is digital, though, so I don't need to lug around 1,800 pages of books.
That's right. That's bigger than Tanner is.
Yes.
No, it's not. Tanner's bigger than that.
Wait,
Probably.
what?
I don't
I
know.
didn't know. I don't know what you said. I just said yes.
We make weird jokes sometimes. Yeah, so I think the coolest part for me on any Sherlock Holmes story is always when he first meets the person who's coming to ask for help, and he like deduces things about them from their appearance.
It's always very interesting. I've
Yeah.
tried using the same methods because everything that he does is so applicable to some extent.
Yeah, but it seems so simple, but it's not.
Exactly.
You know, he's like, oh, this, by the way that her cuff was pressed, I knew she was a typewriter, and by the way she had ink on her gloves, she was writing a letter in a hurry because she did the pen down too deep or something like that. And I'm like, oh, whoa, whoa. There's one time where I was working at Chick-fil-A, and I was kind of new then, and I was making lemonades in the back. By the way, don't get Chick-fil-A's lemonade. I have seen how much sugar is put in there, and I've done the dirty deed myself. It's a lot. No, actually, get the lemonade. It's pretty good. But anyway, I was making lemonade, and I was taking some to the cooler, and I accidentally had the lid to where it was open, to where there's like a hole in the side to where you could pour, and it wasn't right. Anyway, it kind of sloshed, and so it got on my shoes a little bit. But I didn't really know that like the pulp I got on my shoes. So later I went outside to take orders, and there was like a supervisor watching me, and then she's like, "Oh, you're making lemonades?" And I was like, "Yes, Sherlock Holmes. How'd you know?" And I was like, "What? How did this lady? How did this lady know that I was making lemonades? Like, that's insane. Because you have pulp on your shoes." Like, oh, okay.
I know,
well,
that's like every Sherlock
yeah.
Holmes story. You're like,
That's not really.
it's so simple. It's
It should be that
stupid.
easy. Yeah, but it's not in real
In
life.
real life, it's
So,
really not.
That's my funny Sherlock Holmes story.
Yes.
Sherlock Holmes story. Do you have any fun history with mystery stories? How do you feel about them? Do you like them? Do you love them?
I don't really have a whole lot of mystery stories. You guys know me, fantasy all the way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Read until they.
Yeah, I don't read a lot
read
of
until
either.
you drop.
Yeah, I don't read a lot of mysteries either. I used to read a lot of Boxcar Children books, though. Do you read any of
Oh
those
man,
when you were
I
a
think
kid?
I got through. How many did I get through? I think I got through like 20. But I
Yeah.
think I stopped at 20 and finally found good literature.
Yeah, I think I read a little bit more than 20. Like, my church used to have a library. We don't anymore. But I would just go through the Boxcar Children section, just pick out ones that I never read, and eventually got pretty hard. Yeah, so I like to call that part of my life my mid-kid life crisis.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's when I was reading a lot of bad literature, and then anyway, it's a fun story. But yeah, I even the Boxcar Children, it's maybe it was me, but I could never figure out who was actually the person who was going to gonna actually did the bad thing, you know. Which is why I stopped reading them probably. But so my question to you is: did you ever figure out that it was the stepfather at any point in the story before it got to the realization?
No.
You didn't.
Wait. I'm confused. You're gonna have to repeat your question.
So did you realize that the stepfather was what's his name? Anger or something?
No, I didn't.
What's his name? You didn't realize it?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. I think at some point through this story, I was never 100% sure, but before it got to the thing, I was like, you know what? It's going to be the stepfather. That's what it's going to be. I don't know. I realized it, but I've never been really good at it. Even in Zootopia, I couldn't tell who was the bad guy.
What?
So,
Okay, that's...
yeah, I know.
Cooper, that's a little bit...
I know. I love mystery stories, and the thing about this is my thing. Okay, maybe it's an excuse, but I think that I don't try and figure out things because I don't want to know. I think it's more fun if I don't. Like with Interstellar, I realized what was going to happen, like, a quarter of the way through the movie, and I was kind of disappointed in myself. And so in mystery stories, I think I like to be surprised, and I don't want to spend too much. I don't want to work too hard to try and figure it out. I just want to read. So
Yeah,
anyway,
that was kind of me when I started, and then as I'm going through it now, I'm like, let's beat him to the answer.
yeah, yes. I think when you were younger, you're like, I want to be surprised, but now you're like, I think it's shameful if I don't know by the end of the story.
I know, right? I mean, that was me for Interstellar. Matthew's catching on like, snap, snap, I've got it. And I'm over there sitting as I'm as I'm still working
Well, to be
through
fair,
Once Was a Time
what
and
you would have,
Interstellar at the same time.
because Tanner has a fun Interstellar story because Tanner read Once Was a Time like midnight the night before. Then he and Matthew comes over to my house and we're watching Interstellar like 24 hours later. Then so normally I don't like watching movies with Tanner. Like, it's not against Tanner. It's just he asks a lot of questions, you know? Like in Captain Marvel, he was just asking questions like, Tanner, do you think I know the answers to these? But in Interstellar, he was dead quiet. And I could tell he was just exhausted and trying to work through it. And Matthew, I don't like watching movies with Matthew either, normally because he quotes the movie to me. Especially if it's a movie he's seen and I haven't. Like, we watched Harry Potter movies together, and he just kept quoting them. And I'm like, just stop, Matthew. But
it's part of the fun,
more
though.
Annoying than normal because he just kept asking me questions.
You should watch Westerns with Matthew.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, Matthew quotes Westerns a lot, and he also, like, acts like John Wayne a lot off microphone. Maybe sometimes on microphone, too. But, you know, Matthew is that kind of guy.
It's amazing.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that would be a fun experience, but we'd also probably get some sexist jokes as well.
We are going straight down a rabbit hole.
We are. This is fun. This is what Summer Short Stories is for. We talked about the short story. What do you think about the short story? Is it good Sherlock Holmes? Is it bad Sherlock Holmes?
I think there are better ones. This one is one of the better written ones. There are a few where I'm like, that was anticlimactic. And this one feels like it was kind of leading up to it. It's not very anticlimactic, which is kind of nice for me. And it just had this. Yeah. It was easy to follow along all of Holmes' deductions. There are a few where I'm like, and you've lost me.
There's a few where you can't. There's a few where you can't really solve them, and then he uses clues that you don't really know.
Yeah, because
and stuff like
there's
that.
because you're reading a book, you're not looking at things. You're not watching a movie or something, because in a book and in a movie you're deciding where where your attention is focused. The director or the author is directing where your attention is focused in the movie or in the book. So when in a mystery movie or in a mystery book like Sherlock Holmes, you can deduct a few things, but you can't really follow along the entire thing because they're directing your attention to somewhere else because they're dictating where you're looking.
Yeah. That's true. I agree. Any other world-shaking thoughts about A Case of Identity?
I liked I love how he was able to deduct that he walked straight off the carriage. I mean,
oh yes,
that was my favorite one in this one, where he just found that out, and I'm like, it's so stupid easy.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, I read this like a week ago, but I forgot how he got there. I remember being impressed, though. What page was that?
Yeah. I don't know.
Who cares?
Anyway.
Yeah, that one.
Let's do donor shoutouts real fast. I say the donor, and then you say a summer activity.
Sounds good.
Okay. Tanner's normally not good at these, but we'll see.
This is true.
And Tanner, where would you go if you want a donor shout out?
You would go to patreon.com/bookinit, and you would donate to any of our $5 and up tiers. Most preferably the one at the very top, but we won't discuss that.
Yeah, we won't.
There are enough benefits in there to make it worth it. Let's say that.
I think there are. All right, Nana.
Summer activity. Boating.
Nice. Van Pappy and Wayla.
Tubing.
Mike and Sylvia.
Swimming.
Mr. Mike and Miss Laura.
Volleyball.
Isaiah's Uncle Sebby.
Water skiing.
Aunt Jenny and Uncle Sam.
Wakeboarding.
Moses.
Playing at the beach.
Zara. Chris.
Picnic.
Yeah, that's fine. Anna.
Day at the pool.
That's awesome. Tanner actually did a great job of that. All right? Everybody, wherever you are, give Tanner a hand. Okay, give him a
You'll
round of
notice that
applause.
most
Anyway,
of those were lake activities. For those that do not know,
Yeah.
I live at the lake.
he lives on the lake. Yep, that's right. I have to drive to a lake. Imagine that. All right. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for dealing with my runny nose that I have. I know it probably sound really weird. Thank you for dealing with Tanner, and we'll be back next week with some more summer short stories. Peace out. Actually, no, that's not how we end this podcast. Who am I, an idiot? No.
Keep on booking.
Until next time.
I went too early.